So to show the journey from the supplier point of view, I'll log in with my supplier login ID. And as you can see, the dashboard for the supplier is as yet undeveloped. As I did with the buyer journey, I'll show you what the supplier dashboard is supposed to look like, and again, it is the gateway to access all of the functionalities of the platform from a supplier point of view. So front and center in terms of what's on the supplier dashboard is the live buyer requests. So this is a list, and it's the last 10 that are displayed, but it's a list of current live buyer requests of buyers who are in a situation where they've actually made a decision to buy and they're going out to suppliers. So this is like gold dust. So even a newly registered supplier who will only have his own personal and company profile, this list of opportunities is available for him to see, and he can actually filter the lists by geography and by product type. So if he wants to look at western suburbs of Mumbai and he wants to look at say stone chips, this list can be filtered to show the requests relating to those filters. And the idea is he'll be able to click on any of these individual buyer requests and view the detail. Now, in terms of functionality, the first issue or the first thing that a supplier will need to think about, so whilst it can review the individual requests, it won't actually be able to post a response until it's posted a rebate offer. So if it clicks on one of those and tries to respond, it'll be redirected to post up a rebate offer. So this functionality is the gateway to allow the supplier to go into the post a rebate offer screen. There is also, and I'll cover that in a minute, there is also a functionality which will help the supplier assess what is the right level of rebate to offer for that supplier. So once the supplier has got its rebate offer, its platform offer posted up, it's obviously free to respond to as many requests as it likes, and here would be a list of, and it will be the last 10 that will be on display, and it can scroll down, but all of the responses it's made, and it shows the project name, the request title itself, what kind of product it was, and what is the status, whether it's accepted, under negotiation, or declined, or on hold. It's able to see that detail. Once published, its rebate, the rebate offer detail will be viewable on the front screen, and it's showing whether it's actually, or which threshold it's actually in. So that can be displayed in a number of ways. I mentioned the invites function in the buying journey, so this is the other end of that. So if a buyer has requested a meeting to negotiate, this detail will be made available in the supplier screen, as well as the supplier receiving either a text or a WhatsApp message, as well as an email, and it will also alarm to say that the meeting is due in 15 minutes. So the other information on the supplier's dashboard is like a sales tool, so it's through the platform, what is the sales achieved this month, last month, year to date, and so of all the sales that they've won through the platform, what is the percentage which is to very large customers, to large customers, etc. So it's just a better way of understanding the profile of the sales. It can see its win and loss ratio, and it can see its the pricing trends by product and by geography. Again, in overall sales terms, this is, or supplier terms, this is a useful sales tool, this dashboard, in its own right, as well as generating extra business. So I'll return back to the dashboard on the platform itself, which of course we want this to replace. So the first thing then is to look at posting up a rebate offer. Now, because I'm coming in under an existing login supplier ID, in my case, a rebate is already posted. but a new supplier would see a button which says create new rebate, and it would then input the data that you'll see here. So it's got the rebate name. These will automatically populate this, who you are as a supplier and what your company you represent. You're able to select an open date, so it will default to today's date, and a close date. Again, it's got to be for a minimum of 1 month, and can be anything up to a couple of years. There is a free form if they want to make some notes in there. So in this case, more customer engagement was a note that I'd made. And then you basically post up the offers itself. So the threshold is the sales through the platform, which will yield the percentage rebate offer. So we want to make it mandatory that the first threshold is at 0, so that basically any sales through the platform have to incur, and again, we want to make this mandatory, at least a 5% rebate, which means that a buyer, when he sees a supplier through our platform, he's guaranteed a rebate of 5%. And that's not a bad deal for a supplier. And then he can select, and again, this is totally at the discretion of the supplier himself, he can select what is the threshold of sales that the platform will bring me, and what rebate will I give to correspond to that extra sales. So it's obviously a progressive structure. So at 0 it's offering 5%. In this case, at 200,000 it's offering 7%. At 500,000 it's offering 9%, and at 700,000 it's offering 11%. And this is there is a cumulative structure to this. So basically, once he's crossed the 700,000 platform, any buyer that's bought from him within the rebate open and close date specified, they all get the 11%. So some may have got 5% at the beginning, but as more and more sales came through the platform, it would have triggered these other rebates, and that first customers would get additional savings to take it to the 11%, which would mean that all buyers that bought from this supplier through the platform would all have the same, in this case, 11% rebate. So to help suppliers make these decisions, obviously they can do that based on gut feel, but if they want a tool to help them do that, the idea is that the platform will, and I've developed a tool on an Excel spreadsheet which will help them make these decisions. So we'll just have a look at that. So this tool, basically, the only bits that they have to fill in are the yellow boxes. So what's the name of their company? What is their annual sales turnover? What is their sales volume? What is their sales and marketing costs? What is their variable costs? What is their fixed costs? Giving you the total costs. And then what is the available spare capacity volume? And there is, if they're also a buyer, like a ready-mix supplier, would be looking to both supply through the platform and to buy through the platform, then it can accommodate any supply savings that the platform is offering. Those numbers then translate to a pro forma sort of baseline. So in this case, based on these numbers, the supplier is supplying 10 million, in this case it's tons of cement, and it's showing what the operating profit is and the operating profit margin. Now the platform is also telling the supplier that if it's sold it's all of its available spare capacity, which is this extra 1 million ton on top of the 10 million ton it's already supplying, it could afford to pay a rebate of 9.9%, and if that was applied, then the sales would become 11 million. The sales value would increase accordingly. Sales and marketing costs wouldn't change because it's free. All the sales are free through the platform. Variable costs will have changed correspondingly unless there is a procurement saving. Fixed costs will remain the same, so you're effectively diluting your fixed cost, and you will have the cost of the rebate of this 9.9% rebate as an additional cost, giving you a new operating profit, so benefiting benefiting from the extra sales, the dilution of the fixed costs, and the dilution of the sales and marketing costs. So you're seeing then the benefit. So if this particular supplier in this example offered a 9.9% rebate and sold this extra 1 million tons through the platform, then it will have increased its profit by 15 times and increased its profit margin by 13.5 times. But that's just a tool to help make these decisions. The next thing that a supplier will want to do is to respond to buyer requests. And this screen will show all of the requests that are posted on the platform which are live, which can be filtered using these filters on the left hand side so that it's to the relevant geography and it's the relevant product type relative to the supplier. And when it sees a request that it wants to respond to, it's just this right hand box here, click to respond. And then the detail of the response, so what is the name of the request itself? That's the username of the person that posted the request, that's the company. This is the product type, this is the project, and this is the location. Obviously all fed through the buyer information that's already been fed in. So that project location needs to be a bit more specific. Again, this is the details provided by the buyer. When was the request posted? So when's it open? When does it close? What is the approximate value? When is the approximate delivery start date? And then the optional information, the qualification information, like whether there's minimum turnover required, whether reference is required, etc., as specified by the buyer. And then what is the product and what is the volume of the product. And the actual response part itself is very quick and straightforward. Most of this is it populates itself, so the request name, who you are as a supplier and your company, your email address, the response creation date, and you can update these. So your response creation date automatically appears, and your validity, you can say that you want this quote to be valid for whatever period you think appropriate. And then so this has to be changed, but the main rebate offer should populate itself automatically. So this is not correct as it stands at the moment. So there is only one main rebate offer, the master rebate offer, which is the one that was posted, we went through on the last screen. That should automatically appear. And then there is an opportunity for the supplier, because maybe this is a high-profile project or a customer that it particularly wants. It can add specific to this request an entirely, and see there is a descriptor here, an entirely optional additional rebate to and put in a percentage here to make its offer more attractive. And it's saying that it's applicable only to this offer. Then the authority of the responder, that should be an automatically filled field. And then if it wants to upload any document to support its quotation or its offer, it can do. And then it's a case of putting in the price per unit for the request. And when all of the data is filled in and the supplier is happy, it's a case of then hitting the respond button. So back to the screen with all of the requests which you can filter to the relevance you want by product or geography or size of project. But there is also a screen where if you were directly notified, so if you remember, a buyer, when he posts up a request, he can select a supplier to make sure that the buyer gets notified. Now that comes by email, and it comes to this screen here. So this is when the buyer specifically wants to make sure that this supplier that I'm logged in under responds to this request. So it will see a list of those direct request notifications. And of course the process to respond is exactly the same by using the click to respond button. You then, by the way, you've also got a way of filtering your view on here. You could see that there are various filters, and it can be exported as a sales report as well. You've also got a functionality which should be a main functionality, where you actually want to see the progress of your submitted responses. So you've actually responded using the click to respond, and now you want to understand the status of those. So this is a list of all the requests that you responded to and their current status. Again, you've got the option of viewing those by status or various other, and again exporting that as a sales report. And again, on these, so for example, if you were in negotiation and you wanted to change the price, you can click to modify, and that will take you back where it will allow you to edit again this bottom half. Now you'll notice that we've talked about this main rebate being here. That's not, that's a master rebate which applies to all buyers, so that can't be edited. So that function, it will just tell you what it is, but you can modify the supplementary rebate, which is specific to this request. So if you wanted to increase that to make your offer more attractive, and of course you can alter the price if the buyer thought that you weren't competitive on your price. And the last functionality, or the last key functionality for a supplier, is about the rebate claim itself. So the rebate claims submitted by the platform require the supplier to confirm that for each buyer that he's supplied under the master rebate, that he's actually been paid the invoice amount. So you can see that in this case, in the system, there is an invoice number relating to this request and this particular buyer and the invoice amount, and you're basically, as a supplier, confirming that you've been paid. And obviously the update function allows you to do that. I've already accepted this claim, but that then triggers the platform to invoice me as a supplier in this case, and I will pay the rebate invoice back to the platform, and the platform will distribute it amongst the one or many buyers that may have linked to the master rebate claim. But then it is about the dashboard, where everything will be accessed from the dashboard, and the supplier will be looking at his progress on sales and how successfully he is in winning these projects, and that's the key.